Get ready for a roller coaster because this story is no ordinary mob tale. It's the Everest of stories.
My name is Michael Franzese, and I was a former capo regime in the Colombo crime family back in New York, one of the 5 New York Mafia, La Cosa Nostra families.
Born into the mob life, Michael Franzese wasn't your average family guy. He turned the Mafia game into a gold mine. Like a financial Houdini, he pulled off jaw-dropping heists that would make Danny Ocean blush. From petty crook to the Mozart of crime, Franzese orchestrated schemes that read like Hollywood scripts. Bankrolling his lifestyle with stacks of bills, he didn't just break the law, he aced it. In this video, we will uncover some of the darkest secrets of this ex-Mafia boss, Michael Franzese. Born into a family deeply rooted in the Colombo crime family, one of the notorious 5 New York Mafia families, Michael's life was destined to be anything but ordinary. His father, Sonny Franzese, was a highly respected figure in the underworld, serving as the underboss of the Colombo family. Sonny's influence and reputation cast a long shadow over Michael's early years, but his father had different aspirations for his son. Sonny dreamed of Michael becoming a doctor, a life far removed from the treacherous world of organized crime. However, fate had other plans in store for young Michael. In the 1960s, Sonny found himself in serious trouble, facing a 50-year prison sentence. This turn of events would forever change the course of Michael's life. During this time, Joe Colombo, the boss of the Colombo family, took a special interest in Michael, recognizing his potential. Joe Colombo became a mentor to Michael, introducing him to his father's friends and associates. They convinced Michael that he had a duty to help his father and join the life of organized crime. Reluctantly, Sonny accepted his son's decision, realizing that the bonds of loyalty and family ran deep within their blood. And so, Michael embarked on a journey that would forever shape his destiny. For the next 18 months to 2 years, he underwent a grueling pledge period as a recruit, proving himself worthy of becoming a member of the Cosa Nostra. This period tested his loyalty, courage, and willingness to do whatever it took to survive in the world of organized crime. On a fateful Halloween night in 1975, Michael's initiation into the family took place in a solemn ceremony. Surrounded by his fellow mobsters, he took an oath, pledging his loyalty to the Cosa Nostra. This oath was not to be taken lightly, as it bound him to a life of secrecy, violence, and criminal enterprise. Although Michael no longer considers himself a member of that life, his journey into organized crime was driven by 2 main motivations: getting his father out of prison and making money. He was a force to be reckoned with on the streets, bringing new schemes and operations to the family. One of Michael's bold and profitable schemes was cheating the government out of gasoline taxes.
I was very aggressive on the street. I brought some new things into the family, hadn't been done before. So I devised a scheme to defraud the government out of tax on every gallon of gasoline. I ran that operation for about 8 years, and at the height of my operation, I was selling 500 million gallons of gas a month, and at one point in time, we were bringing in $7, $8, $9, $10 million a week.
This gasoline tax fraud became a central part of his criminal enterprise. With his sharp business sense and knowledge of the system, Michael recognized a loophole in the tax collection process and seized the opportunity to exploit it. At his peak, Michael revealed he was selling an incredible 500 million gallons of gas each month. This massive business made him millions, with an astounding $8 million stolen weekly from the government. His operation's sheer size was unmatched, bringing him immense wealth and influence in the criminal world. He had a network of loyal associates who helped him navigate the operation, ensuring its smooth functioning and minimizing the risk of detection. Michael established a vast network of gas stations and distributors to execute the scheme, all operating under his control. These seemingly legitimate businesses served as the front for his criminal activities. He used fake invoices, changed records, and bribed officials to trick the tax collection system, taking a large chunk of the money meant for the government. The impact of Michael's criminal empire was far-reaching. The immense wealth generated from the gasoline tax fraud operation allowed him to expand his influence and solidify his position within the Colombo crime family. With his newfound power, he became a force to be reckoned with, commanding respect and instilling fear. But as the saying goes, the higher you climb, the harder you fall. Michael's success and wealth attracted the attention of law enforcement agencies, who were determined to bring him down. The government launched an extensive investigation into his operations, aiming to dismantle his criminal empire and bring him to justice. But Michael was clever and good at avoiding capture, making it tough for the police. He stayed ahead by using informants and insiders to stay informed about possible threats or investigations. This watchfulness helped him run his criminal business without getting caught. One of the most significant tolls of Michael's Michael's life as a mafia boss was the strain it placed on his relationships, particularly with his family. The constant fear of violence and the ever-present threat of betrayal created an atmosphere of tension and mistrust. Seeing the pain and chaos in the world of organized crime deeply affected Michael. He realized that innocent people often suffered due to power struggles and conflicts. The guilt and shame for the harm he had caused and witnessed troubled him constantly. The constant threat of rival mobsters seeking to undermine his power and law enforcement agencies determined to bring him down created an atmosphere of perpetual paranoia. Every interaction and every decision was fraught with the potential for betrayal or capture. The impact of Michael's actions went beyond immediate dangers in his criminal life. Living a deceitful and violent life took a toll on his mental and emotional well-being. The weight of his choices and the lives he ruined burdened his conscience, leading to moments of deep self-reflection. Even with his wealth and power, Michael started questioning the real worth of his dishonest gains. What once seemed appealing in material possessions and a lavish lifestyle now felt empty. He understood that chasing money and power had cost him his humanity and harmed those close to him. During this self-reflection period, Michael's life took an unexpected turn. In 1984, he fell in love with a young woman named Camille Garcia, whose faith and moral compass challenged him to question his chosen path. He knew that if he wanted Camille in his life, he had to make a difficult decision: to walk away from the life of organized crime. This decision came at a great personal cost. Betraying his oath and risking his own life, Michael took a plea deal on a racketeering case, resulting in a 10-year prison sentence. The separation from his criminal empire and the loss of the power and wealth he had accumulated were significant sacrifices, but they were necessary steps on his path to redemption. During his time in prison, Michael faced numerous challenges, including threats to his life and pressure from law enforcement to become an informant. In the solitude of his confinement, he found faith and made a conscious decision to change his life for the better. This newfound spirituality became the guiding force in his journey toward redemption. He chose to retire from the mob and leave behind the world of organized crime for good. This decision was met with skepticism and even threats from his former associates, but Michael was resolute in his determination to break free from the chains of his past. Upon his release from prison in 1994, Michael Franzese faced a new challenge: rebuilding his life outside of the criminal underworld. He knew he had to distance himself from his former associates and find a new purpose, and so he turned to the power of words. Since his release, Michael has become a prolific speaker, sharing his story of redemption and faith with audiences worldwide. Through his books and speaking engagements, he aims to shed light on the dark realities of organized crime and inspire others to break free from the chains of their past. Michael's message is one of hope and resilience. He encourages individuals to never give up, no matter how dire their circumstances may seem. His journey is a powerful example of overcoming a bad situation and finding a path towards a brighter future. Through his speaking engagements, Michael seeks to educate others about the destructive nature of organized crime. He shares the harsh realities he witnessed and the toll it took on his own life and the lives of those around him. By exposing the truth behind the glamorous facade of the mafia, he aims to deter others from falling into the same trap: mafia bosses. Let's explore the lives of some well-known mafia bosses, starting with John "Sonny" Franzese, who happens to be Michael's father. On February 6, 1917, John "Sonny" Franzese was born in Naples, Italy. At 8, Sonny and his family immigrated to the United States, seeking a better life. Settling in Brooklyn, New York, young Sonny quickly adapted to his new surroundings. However, the allure of the streets soon drew him in, and he found himself entangled in organized crime. During the late 1930s, Sonny Franzese became involved with the Profaci crime family, later known as the Colombo crime family. Under the guidance of Joseph Profaci, a powerful mob boss, Sonny Franzese began his journey into the criminal underworld. With his natural charisma and street smarts, he quickly caught the attention of his superiors. It wasn't long before his reputation as a cunning and ruthless individual spread throughout the ranks. As he climbed the ladder of the Profaci crime family, Sonny became involved in various criminal activities. Extortion, loan sharking, and illegal gambling operations were just a few of the ventures that filled his days. But it wasn't just his criminal activities that set Sonny apart. He possessed an uncanny ability to maintain a calm and composed demeanor, even in the face of danger. As the years went by, Sonny's reputation continued to grow. He became known as a man who could get things done no matter the cost. His loyalty to the Profaci crime family was unwavering, and he would go to great lengths to protect his fellow mobsters and their interests. In 1963, Sonny Franzese reached the pinnacle of his criminal career. He was appointed as the underboss of the Colombo crime family, solidifying solidifying his position as one of the most powerful figures in the organization. With this new title came even greater responsibility and influence, as Sonny now had a hand in shaping the direction of the entire crime family. But Sonny's rise to the top would soon be met with challenges and setbacks that would test his loyalty and resilience. In 1967, the law finally caught up with Sonny. He was arrested and charged with orchestrating a series of daring bank robberies. The evidence against him was overwhelming, and the following trial would become one of the most sensational in the history of organized crime. Despite his reputation and the loyalty of his fellow mobsters, Sonny was unable to escape the long arm of the law. The evidence presented against him was simply too compelling, leaving the jury with no choice but to find him guilty. In 1967, Sonny Franzese was sentenced to 50 years in prison, a punishment that would effectively end his criminal career. The Colombo crime family, once a force to be reckoned with, now faced a significant blow to its leadership. With their underboss behind bars, the family would have to navigate the treacherous waters of organized crime without their trusted leader. But Sonny was not one to be easily defeated. Even from behind prison walls, he continued to exert his influence, maintaining control over his criminal empire. His loyal associates carried out his orders, ensuring his power and influence remained intact. Sonny's nephew, Salvatore Franzese, took charge of Sonny's gambling operations while he was behind bars. Sonny regained his freedom on parole in 1978, but found himself back in prison in 1982 due to a parole violation. He was released on parole once more in 1984. Surprisingly, Sonny avoided criminal charges until 2008, enjoying a period without legal issues. However, his freedom was often interrupted as he faced prison again on parole violations at least 6 times. In June 2008, while still in prison for breaking parole, Sonny faced charges related to his involvement in murders during the Colombo Wars in the early 1990s, theft of fur coats in mid-1990s New York City, and participation in home invasions in Los Angeles in 2006, where he and his associates posed as police officers. The charges, including racketeering, conspiracy, robbery, extortion, narcotics trafficking, and loan sharking, were part of a bigger case against Sonny and other Colombo mobsters on June 4, 2008. Despite these legal problems, he was released from the Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn on December 24, 2008. Law enforcement sources said he kept his position as the official underboss of the Colombo family. Adding to the story, his son John Franzese Jr. became a government informant during this time. In this world, loyalty is everything. Blood ties and unwavering trust form the foundation of these criminal empires. But sometimes, even the strongest bonds can be shattered by betrayal. This was the case for Sonny Franzese, as his son John Franzese Jr. turned against him. John Franzese Jr. had grown up in the shadow of his father's criminal empire. He witnessed firsthand the power and influence his father wielded within the Colombo crime family. But as he got older, John Jr. began questioning the morality of his father's actions. The weight of his conscience became too heavy to bear, and he decided to cooperate with law enforcement. As a government informant, John Jr. provided crucial information about his father's criminal activities. He revealed the inner workings of the Colombo crime family, exposing its members and their involvement in various illegal operations. John Jr.'s testimony would prove to be a turning point in the case against Sonny Franzese. His first-hand accounts of his father's involvement in organized crime painted a damning picture of a man who had once been revered as a powerful and untouchable figure. Franzese Sr., aged 93, was sentenced to 8 years in prison on January 14, 2011, based on testimony from Franzese Jr. The charges included extorting 2 Manhattan strip clubs, running a loan shark operation, and extorting a pizzeria on Long Island. Despite the turmoil caused by his son's betrayal, Sonny Franzese remained stoic. He refused to show any signs of weakness, even in the face of such a devastating blow. He continued to exert his influence behind prison walls, maintaining control over his criminal empire through his loyal associates. After many years behind bars, Sonny Franzese was released in 2017. At the age of 100, he had become the oldest federal inmate in the United States. But what would the future hold for this aging mobster? As Sonny Franzese stepped out into the free world, he was met with curiosity and apprehension. Many wondered if he still held the same power and influence that had defined his criminal career. Others questioned whether he could adapt to a world that had changed so drastically during his time in prison. Despite his advanced age, Franzese remained a figure of intrigue. He had outlived many of his contemporaries, and his name still carried weight within the criminal underworld. Some feared he would attempt to regain control over his former criminal empire, while others believed he had mellowed with age and would seek a quieter life. In the years following his release, Franzese kept a low profile. He retreated from the public eye, choosing to spend his remaining days with his family. During this time, he reflected on his life of crime and the choices that led him down down this path. He sought redemption and forgiveness, hoping to leave behind a legacy that went beyond his criminal exploits. In 2020, at the age of 103, Sonny Franzese passed away. There was another mafia boss like Sonny, and his name was Albert Anastasia. Umberto Anastasio, who would later be known as Albert Anastasia, was born on September 26, 1902, in Calabria, Italy. Anastasia's early life was marked by hardship and struggle. At the age of 15, he immigrated to the United States. However, the streets of Brooklyn were far from welcoming. In this tough environment, Anastasia quickly found himself drawn into the world of street gangs and criminal activities. It wasn't long before Anastasia's natural talent for violence and intimidation caught the attention of the local mafia. He became involved with the Mangano crime family, led by Vincent Mangano, and began his ascent through the ranks of organized crime. Anastasia's reputation for brutality and loyalty made him a valuable asset to the mafia. As the years went by, Anastasia's involvement in organized crime deepened. He became a trusted enforcer, carrying out orders without question. His ruthlessness earned him nicknames like the Earthquake, the One-Man Army, Mad Hatter, and Lord High Executioner. But it was his role in the formation of Murder Inc. that truly solidified Anastasia's power and influence. Alongside his partner, Louis Lepke Buchalter, Anastasia co-founded the notorious organization that would become synonymous with contract killings. Murder Inc. was responsible for carrying out hits on behalf of the mafia, and Anastasia's leadership within the group was unparalleled. Under Anastasia's guidance, Murder Inc. became a well-oiled machine, carrying out numerous unsolved murders. The group's efficiency and ability to eliminate targets without leaving a trace made them a force to be reckoned with. Anastasia's reputation as a cold-blooded killer grew, and his power within the American mafia continued to rise. But it wasn't just his involvement in Murder Inc. that propelled Anastasia to the top. He also forged close ties with influential mobsters such as Lucky Luciano and Frank Costello. These connections allowed him to expand his reach and control New York City's lucrative waterfront. Anastasia's influence extended to labor unions, smuggling operations, and other criminal enterprises that operated along the docks. As his power grew, so did his ambition. Anastasia set his sights on becoming the boss of his own crime family. In 1951, he saw an opportunity when Vincent Mangano and his brother Philip mysteriously disappeared. Anastasia seized control of the Mangano crime family, becoming its new boss. This move solidified his position as one of the most powerful figures in the American mafia. However, Anastasia's reign as boss was not without its challenges. His brutal behavior and violation of commission rules led to resentment and opposition from other high-ranking mobsters. Internal disputes and conflicts with rival gangs further complicated his position. The American mafia was a treacherous world, and Anastasia had made many enemies along the way. During World War II, Albert Anastasia surprisingly played a role in helping another prominent mobster, Lucky Luciano, get a pardon. Anastasia's connections within the American mafia were beneficial. He used these ties to gather intelligence and maintain order on the New York City waterfront, which is essential for the war effort. The mafia-controlled docks were crucial for supply lines. Anastasia's expertise in this area made him valuable for the war effort. In a bold move, Anastasia joined the U.S. Army and trained soldiers to be longshoremen. His knowledge of the waterfront proved invaluable in ensuring the efficient movement of supplies and equipment. Anastasia's involvement in the war effort showcased his adaptability and resourcefulness as he seamlessly transitioned from a life of crime to a role in the military. After the war, Anastasia returned to his criminal activities with renewed vigor. His influence and power within the American mafia had only grown during his time in the military. He resumed his position as the boss of the Mangano crime family, expanding his reach and solidifying his control over various criminal enterprises. Anastasia's criminal empire extended far beyond the docks. He had his hands in a wide range of illegal activities, including gambling, loan sharking, and extortion. His brutal tactics allowed him to amass a vast fortune and maintain a stranglehold on the criminal underworld. But Anastasia's reign was not without its challenges. Rival mobsters and internal disputes posed constant threats to his power. The American mafia was treacherous, and Anastasia had to constantly navigate the delicate balance of alliances and rivalries to maintain his position. One of Anastasia's most significant challenges was the rise of Vito Genovese, a powerful mobster who had once been a close associate. Genovese had his own ambitions of taking control of the mafia and saw Anastasia as a major obstacle standing in his way. The tension between the two grew, and it became clear that a confrontation was inevitable. But Genovese was not the only one who resented Anastasia's brutal tactics. Other top mobsters in the mafia started doubting Anastasia's leadership and his ability to follow the commission's rules. His violent actions and disregard for mafia rules began to undermine the trust and respect he once had. Internal disputes within the mafia further complicated Anastasia's position. Rivalries and power struggles erupted, with factions forming and alliances shifting. Anastasia's brutal behavior and his disregard for for commission rules had not gone unnoticed by the higher-ups in the Mafia. The Commission, a governing body that oversaw the activities of the American Mafia, began to take notice of his actions. Violating the rules set forth by the Commission was a dangerous game, and Anastasia's actions did not go unpunished. As resentment and opposition grew, Anastasia's grip on power began to slip. The once feared mobster found himself facing challenges from all sides. The internal disputes and conflicts within the Mafia, combined with the growing opposition to his leadership, created a volatile and unstable environment. On October 25, 1957, as he sat in a barber chair in a Manhattan barbershop, a group of gunmen stormed in and opened fire. Anastasia was brutally murdered, his life cut short by a hail of bullets. The hit was rumored to be ordered by Vito Genovese and Carlo Gambino, who saw Anastasia as a threat to their power. His death marked the end of an era of organized crime. It signaled a shift in power within the American Mafia. The funeral of the notorious mobster generated significant public interest, with crowds gathering to witness the final chapter of Anastasia's violent and tumultuous life. Another one of the most prominent figures rumored to be involved in Anastasia's murder was Joe Gallo. Gallo had a long-standing feud with Anastasia and had publicly expressed his desire to take him down. Many believed that Gallo orchestrated the hit as an act of revenge, eliminating his rival once and for all. Another theory pointed towards members of the Patriarca crime family as potential suspects. The Patriarca family, based in New England, had a long history of conflicts with the New York Mafia. Let's talk about another Mafia boss who was also a son of Italian immigrant parents. He was also an associate of Albert Anastasia. Paul Castellano was born into poverty and struggled in the early 1900s. Castellano's early life was marked by hardship and a constant battle for survival. Growing up in a tough neighborhood full of crime, Castellano experienced the harsh realities of life early on. Walking the streets of Brooklyn, he realized that survival often meant doing whatever was necessary. Leaving school early, Castellano was attracted to the world of crime. It wasn't long before Castellano became involved in petty crimes, running with a gang of young delinquents who roamed the streets of Brooklyn. From petty theft to extortion, Castellano's criminal activities began to escalate, and he soon caught the attention of the Mangano crime family. Under the guidance of Albert Anastasia, Castellano's potential was recognized. Anastasia saw in him a cunning and ruthless nature that could be molded into a valuable asset for the family. Castellano quickly rose through the ranks, proving his loyalty and dedication to the Mangano family. His ability to instill fear in others earned him the respect and admiration of his peers, as well as the attention of the powerful Carlo Gambino, who would later become the head of the Gambino crime family. In 1957, he found himself at the center of a power struggle within the Mangano family. Anastasia was brutally murdered, and Gambino emerged as the new leader. Ever the opportunist, Castellano aligned himself with Gambino, recognizing the potential for greater power and influence. Castellano's ambition and ruthlessness truly came to the forefront during this time. He attended the infamous Appalachian Meeting, a gathering of mobsters from across the country, where he showcased his loyalty to Gambino and solidified his position within the family. However, the meeting was raided by law enforcement, and Castellano was among those arrested. Despite this setback, he managed to have his conviction overturned on appeal. Castellano's power and influence grew as the 1960s and 1970s rolled in. With the passing of Carlo Gambino in 1976, Paul Castellano ascended to the throne as the head of the Gambino crime family, marking a new era for the notorious organization. Castellano's rise to power was met with both anticipation and apprehension within the ranks of the family. His leadership style and approach to running the family would soon prove controversial and divisive. Castellano wasted no time solidifying his control over the family as the new boss. He appointed Thomas Bellotti as his underboss, a trusted ally who shared his vision for the organization's future. Together, they set out to expand the family's operations and increase their influence in the criminal underworld. Castellano's leadership was marked by a focus on business and financial ventures. He saw the potential for immense wealth in legitimate enterprises and sought to capitalize on it. Under his guidance, the Gambino family extended its reach into various industries, including construction, real estate, and labor unions. Using his connections and influence, Castellano gained control over the lucrative concrete and construction industries, effectively monopolizing these sectors. He also forged alliances with powerful figures in the Teamsters Union, further solidifying his control over labor and transportation. However, Castellano's way of leading faced criticism within the family. People thought he was isolated and not in touch with the street reality. Instead of focusing on loyalty and respect, he seemed more interested in growing his legal businesses. Castellano's leadership was marked by strict adherence to rules. He stressed keeping a low profile and staying away from law enforcement attention. While this was meant to protect the family, some saw it as weak compared to the aggressive style of previous leaders. Furthermore, Castellano's focus focus on business ventures and financial gain led to accusations of greed and a lack of loyalty to the traditional values of the Mafia. He was criticized for prioritizing his own personal wealth and power over the well-being of the family as a whole. These criticisms and Castellano's isolation from the streets and his subordinates created a growing sense of discontent within the family. Dissenters saw an opportunity to challenge his leadership and seize power for themselves. John Gotti, a rising star within the family, would soon orchestrate a daring plan to overthrow Castellano and take control. Gotti, known for his flamboyant personality and disregard for traditional mob rules, saw an opportunity to capitalize on the growing dissatisfaction with Castellano's leadership. He rallied a group of loyalists within the family and plotted Castellano's downfall. In 1985, on a cold December evening, Castellano and Bellotti were gunned down outside a steakhouse in Manhattan. The orchestrator of this audacious plot was none other than John Gotti. Gotti had carefully planned the hit, ensuring it would send a clear message to the rest of the family. With the help of loyalists within the organization, Gotti and his associates executed their plan with precision and efficiency. The murder of Castellano and his underboss, Thomas Bellotti, was swift and brutal, leaving no doubt as to who was now in charge. The aftermath of Castellano's assassination was a tumultuous time for the Gambino crime family. Gotti wasted no time in consolidating his power and asserting his authority. He quickly appointed his own loyalists to key positions within the family, ensuring that his influence would be felt at every level. Gotti's rise to power marked a departure from Castellano's cautious and business-focused leadership. He embraced a more aggressive and high-profile approach, earning him the nickname the Dapper Don and capturing the attention of the media and the public. Under Gotti's leadership, the Gambino family would experience a resurgence in power and influence. Gotti's ability to navigate the treacherous waters of the criminal underworld earned him the loyalty and respect of his subordinates. He became a larger-than-life figure, embodying the image of a modern-day gangster. However, Gotti's reign would not be without its challenges. Law enforcement agencies, determined to bring down the Gambino family, intensified their efforts to gather evidence and build cases against Gotti and his associates. The media scrutiny surrounding Gotti's activities further elevated his status as a notorious figure. In 1992, Gotti's luck would run out. He was arrested and charged with a litany of crimes, including murder, racketeering, and conspiracy. Despite his attempts to evade justice, Gotti was ultimately convicted and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The downfall of Gotti marked the end of an era for the Gambino crime family. The once powerful organization would never regain the same level of influence and notoriety it had enjoyed under the leadership of Castellano and Gotti. If you enjoyed this video, click on the card showing on your screen right now for more videos.